On Osrc News at 7, Governor Aiyedatiwa reiterates commitment to healthcare, seeks more philanthropic gesture to complement government efforts. Court remands pastor over sexual abuse in Ondo. FCT Minister Wike hints on expiration dates for emergency rule in Rivers State. And from the foreign scene, Ghana demonstrators condemns rising loan costs for Africa. Thank you very much for joining us this evening on the news at 7 on Osrc television. My name is Oyewumi Ayinigbara. A new 20-bed, one-story building for intern doctors at the University of Medical Sciences Teaching Hospital Complex, UNIMED, Akure, has been hailed as a major milestone in improving healthcare in the state. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa inaugurated the facility, which was built and donated by businessman Sunday Oyemi. The governor applauded the donation as a demonstration of partnership and collective responsibility and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to expanding access to affordable healthcare since taking office. Government House correspondent Wahab Ankole has the details of the event.
This gathering at the International Culture and Event Center, the Dome in Akure, marks the second time in 2025 that members and leaders of the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) will come together to chart a new course for the party. The expanded meeting aimed to review the progress report of the party while planning a bed, one-story building for house officers at University of Medical Sciences Teaching Hospital Complex, Akure, was donated to Ondo State by businessman Sunday Oyemi to support affordable health care. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, alongside State Executive Council members, attended the official handover ceremony, recognizing the importance of this contribution. In his welcome address, Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Simidele Odimayo, commended Governor Aiyedatiwa for his commitment to providing affordable health care for all residents of Ondo State.
Look at it as a reflection of his love for the people. By virtue of the medical emergency services and ambulance system, the state will be able to pick people who are in emergency situation, either by virtue of accident or by virtue of the delivery or by virtue of any other acute situation. They'll be able to bring them in ambulance system that is provided to the hospital, and by virtue of that, for the first 48 hours of that emergency care, it will be free for whoever needs to benefit from that service.
Ondo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Banji Ajaka, said the Aiyedatiwa administration's recruitment of essential health personnel is crucial to improving public healthcare services. The donor, Sunday Oyemi, urged others to support the government's healthcare initiatives, highlighting the importance of philanthropy and the fleeting nature of wealth.
Businessman,
Governor Aiyedatiwa hailed the donation as a major milestone in improving healthcare delivery in Ondo State. He stressed its roles in tackling brain drain in the health sector and praised Owoyemi's generosity as a true example of partnership and collective responsibility. The governor reiterated his administration's commitment to prioritizing healthcare and expanding affordable access to residents since taking office.
The state government, under our leadership, prioritizes investment in healthcare infrastructure, enhancing access to improved quality healthcare services through training and capacity building for our medical officers and health workers. Since assumption of office, our administration has continued to accord priority to provision of basic and affordable health services to all residents of Ondo State. The state government has developed bespoke health insurance products for all strata of our society, which include, among others, Abiyamo, maternal, and child health insurance, which has so far provided succor to over 56,394 beneficiaries.
Governor Aiyedatiwa revealed that the Orange Health Insurance Scheme now covers 116 enrollees from both formal and informal sectors, and modern health insurance facilities have been set up in 5 government hospitals through the Hospital Intervention Program. He also announced the revitalization of the Ondo State Emergency Medical Services Agency, including approval to reactivate the Emergency Call Center and acquire more.
We have widened the scope of the State Contributory Health Commission to take care of those in informal sectors of the state, like artisans and market women, which represent 5% of the state population. The state now has a state-of-the-art insurance building in 5 government hospitals through the Hospital Intervention Program of the Ondo State Contributory Health Commission.
While announcing that the new 250-bed hospital complex at Unimed Akure is nearing completion, Governor Aiyedatiwa lauded President Bola Tinubu's approval of the Futa Teaching Hospital, calling it a transformative development for healthcare, training, research, and employment.
In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
The governor also urged the young doctors occupying the facility to make it a center of excellence. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
The Northeast Governors Forum has ruled that the security challenges bedeviling the region can be resolved only through a multidimensional approach. The governor of Borno State, Babangana Zulum, who spoke at the 12th rotational meeting of the forum in Taraba, identified the key solutions as education, healthcare, beefed-up security, and infrastructural development, among others. The governors, while commending President Bola Tinubu's effort at ending insurgency in the region, insisted that the root causes, such as youth restiveness, unemployment, vocational and technical education, poor road networks, and inadequate poverty reduction programs must be tackled. The governors said the Northeast continues to face daunting humanitarian and infrastructural setbacks, reaffirming the forum's unwavering commitment to driving development of the region. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has stated that the state of emergency declared in Rivers State would expire on September 18. Wike, who made this known after casting his vote in the local government election in the state, noted that the expiration would pave the way for the State House of Assembly to resume its legislative duties. The minister said the coordinate conditions were right for lifting the state of emergency, since both state and local governments now had representation. President Bola Tinubu had earlier imposed emergency rule in Rivers to prevent political crisis, suspending Governor Siminalayi Fubara, Estability, and the State House of Assembly for 6 months. The federal government and the European Union have intensified efforts to strengthen the digital public infrastructure with the inauguration of a high-level roundtable on the Nigerian Data Exchange Platform, NGDX. The initiative, spearheaded by the Federal Ministry of Communications, innovation and digital economy in collaboration with the European Union and Team Europe partners Estonia, Finland, Germany and France represents a major step towards building secure, inclusive and trusted digital system for citizens and businesses. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, who described the initiative as central to Nigeria's digital transformation agenda, emphasized that the NGDX will operate under the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023, which upholds citizens' rights to privacy and establishes the National Data Protection Commission. Tijani assured that a functional national data exchange would be delivered by the end of 2025, in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. You are still watching the news at 7 on Osrc television. After the break, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
On the 11th of November, I went to the Nigerian High Commission to sort out my passport. I did my biometrics and everything. And guess what? 48 hours later, at 6 minutes past 11 on the 13th of November, I have one passport.
Tireless effort on renovation and rejigging the Ministry of Interior, passports issuance, lessen the frustration of Nigerian homes and abroad on the time that has been taken. You've created a change in the dynamic and the game.
Powered by Grassroots Movement for Tinubu GMT, Ondo State Chapter. GMT, in God we trust.
On the 11th of November, I went to the Nigerian High Commission to sort out my passport. I did my biometrics and everything. And guess what? 48 hours later, at 6 minutes past 11 on the 13th of November, I have one passport.
Tireless effort on renovation and rejigging the Ministry of Interior, passports issuance, lessen the frustration of Nigerian homes and abroad on the time that has been taken. You've created a change in the dynamic and the game.
Thank you very much for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. The call for youth inclusion in governance remains a major talking point in Nigeria, with young people insisting that their involvement is key to achieving accountable leadership. In an exclusive interview with Osrc, APC stalwart Olumuyiwadu emphasized that youth inclusion should go beyond occupying positions. It must focus on delivering results. Blessing Obi reports.
Across the globe, where young people make up a significant portion of the population, many still feel marginalized in governance. To bridge this gap, advocates have continued to push for greater inclusion of youth and women in political leadership. Speaking with Osrc News Crew, APC stalwart Olumuyiwadu underscored the need for youth participation to be merit-driven, stressing that competence must come before consideration.
It has to be on merit. I was in the university. I had few ladies that came out first class. I've seen ladies as managing director of banks in Nigeria, not to talk of outside the country. So why should we be talking about youth? It's because there is no enabling environment for them to work, to exhibit their skills for earning. They're talking about youth. Should you be talking about being in government? Those that should be in government are those that actually look at the strategic policies. I mean, work with the plans that are actually set up to execute those policies for the betterment of everybody in the society. So it should be on merit. It's not based on the fact that you must be there. But we need that just for us to be able to bring them together and at least be able to look up to some few youths and say, okay, if this man can be there, I can also be there. That's also helping us to curtail some level of criminalities, giving them hope that, look, tomorrow can be better. And they feel that those youths are more accessible than the others. But for me, and I think over time, when the country becomes more developed than is, I don't think we should be talking about youths, about women, about men, about whatever. It should be on merit. Give way to the people that really have what it takes to provide this service by managing our resources, developing the economy in the interest of everybody.
He noted that transparency and the ability to contribute meaningfully to national development should remain the benchmark for youth inclusion in governance.
Why are you thinking about bringing somebody else because it's close to you, or because you felt you have to compensate him by good positions? It shouldn't be the case. So we should look at our agents and ensure that we keep them in the right positions where they can actually work hard and ensure that we have the best put in place for our people. That's my own opinion. So the issue of youth inclusiveness, women inclusiveness, old men inclusiveness, young men inclusiveness, why are we talking about this? We should talk about people that really have what it takes to be able to sit in an office, work together, and deliver to ensure that we have more development, infrastructure in the country.
As calls for youth involvement continue to grow, the challenge before the younger generation is to demonstrate competence and capacity as the leaders of tomorrow. Blessing Obe, Osrc News.
A medical staff of the Federal Medical Center, or Pastor Ayodeji Akeshin, who was kidnapped 2 days ago, has regained his freedom. His release was reportedly made possible through a joint security effort. Ayodeji was kidnapped on Thursday evening at his residence located at Okweme in Owo, local government area of Ondo State. A labor leader who confirmed his release said details of how he regained his freedom were still sketchy at the time of filing this report. A magistrate court sitting in Akure has ordered that a pastor, Samson Ajayi, be remanded in prison for allegedly abusing his teenage daughter. Ajayi, who is in his early 40s, was said to have been sexually abusing his biological daughter for over 4 years. Ajayi, who confessed to the crime, told the court that he was under the influence of a generational curse, claiming his father once abused his own sister. The police prosecution, Martins Oluwofeso, told the court that the abuse occurred repeatedly between March 2021 and August 2025 at the family's residence in the Guba area of Ondo State. It requested Ajayi's remand pending advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. Ajayi's lawyer, Kende Osaduba, pleaded with the court for a settlement because the victim's mother had forgiven him due to his role as the family's breadwinner. However, Magistrate Taiwo Lebi declined the request, emphasizing that Ajayi's confession has provided probable cause to remand him to the correctional facility. Another foreign scene, there have been marches in Ghana's capital, Accra, condemning the high cost of credit for African economies. Demonstrators are calling for the continent's mounting external debt to be reviewed and cancelled. Kemisola Ojomo tells us more.
A rally for debt relief marches through the streets of Accra. Demonstrators want to build momentum against what they say are exploitative international loans. They say Ghana's repayment of external debt has come to a high cost, forcing governments to compromise on development. Protesters say that if lenders do not restructure their loans, they will force the government to refuse to pay.
We don't owe, we will not pay. We are repudiating the debt. We are repudiating the debt. We are saying we are unable to pay. All of this should be cancelled, and let's sit down and have a structured arrangement on how to move forward together.
Ghana is among more than 20 African countries facing high fiscal distress. In 2022, it suspended payment on some of its domestic and international credit, a move it called an interim emergency measure. As of June this year, its external debt stood at nearly $29 billion, more than a quarter of its economy output. The government lays the blame in part to what it says is unfair lending.
Why should the risk premium for African countries be so different from Europe, America, and other parts of the world? Why should that be? And because we are going so expensive, we have so little debt, but the debt servicing cost is so expensive.
In January, President John Mahama returned to power on the promise of fixing the economy. His government has implemented wide-ranging austerity measures tied to another IMF bailout. Some are now calling for more accountability.
When we borrow the money, we spend it on consumption. We spend greater half away, anything up to 40% away through corruption. And then we go and hit a brick wall. Then we say, forgive my debt, I can't pay. For me, there's a moral hazard there.
Africa owes $2 trillion to external lenders. Those calling for comprehensive debt relief say this has arrested the continent's development, and they say that what Africa owes to the world was taken from it in the first place in the colonial era and could be used to serve as repatriations. Kemisola Ojomu, Osrc News.
The United Kingdom government has announced sweeping new restrictions on overseas recruitment, barring more than 100 occupations from being filed by foreign workers as part of its drive to cut net migration. The Home Office, in a statement on X, stated that the policy was focused on opening up opportunities for British workers while reshaping the visa system. This development marks the latest move by Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, who took office on July 5, 2024. Critics, however, have warned the policy could worsen labor shortages in sectors such as health and social care. Farmers in northeastern Pakistan are counting the cost of weeks of severe flooding, which has damaged crops and killed livestock. Most people in the area make a living through agriculture, and there is a warning that climate change will only make matters worse. Olaide Uguni has more.
Parts of Kasol district are some of the worst affected areas by recent flood in Pakistan. The area in the northeast is near the Indian border. It is mostly farmlands here, famous for its rice paddies, corn and other cash crops. But now it's all underwater as far as the eye can see. The flood wiped out standing crops and forced people to seek shelter on dry land. Shaftar Munir is a local farmer who says he was looking forward to harvesting his rice in October, but now it's all gone.
The floods have taken away our crops and all our belongings. We are pulling out our cattle as there is nothing to feed them. The government's been no help.
The only way to these remote villages now is by boat. Emergency teams helped by the military are rescuing thousands of people, which many in Punjab province have had to abandon their livestock. Abid is thankful to get a ferry to help him move his herd of water buffaloes and cows, which are too heavy or some small boats to handle.
The water came and destroyed everything. It is with great difficulty that I was able to save my livestock. My farm and crops are all underwater.
On board are other farmers and their families. Days after the deluge, people are still being rescued by a steady stream of boats, ensuring no one is left behind. Agriculture contributes over a quarter of Pakistan's GDP and employs over a third of its workforce. Experts warn it could push farmers into poverty and debt. The only way of earning a living in this area is farming and whatever land is still owned. But by the look of it, they won't be able to go back anytime soon until the water recedes. The floods may have led to a loss of property and livestock, but for tens of thousands of farmers, it goes beyond that, which could have direct effects on Pakistan food supply. Olaide Oguniyi, Osrc News.
And with that report, we conclude the news tonight. But before we go, another look at the top stories. We told you that Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has called for more philanthropic gestures to complement government efforts as inaugurated a 20-bed intern doctor's quarters donated by a businessman, Sunday Owuyemi, at Unimed Teaching Hospital, Akure. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has revealed that the state of emergency declared in Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu would expire on September 18, 2025. We also told you that Magistrate Court in Akure has ordered that a pastor, Samson Ajayi, be remanded in prison for alleged defilement and sexual abuse of his daughter for over 4 years. And finally, away from Nigeria, we told you that protesters in Ghana have demonstrated against high loan costs for African economies. That's the news tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Good evening.